Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go!
I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
Levi, Ivy, we have to get going to Noah's house, called Levi and Ivy's mom from the kitchen. And you wouldn't be able to hear your mom calling either if you were totally focused on creating a plan to save an entire kingdom from a ferocious dragon-like tortoise. But since Levi and Ivy's mom didn't know that, her patience grew short and she walked into the playroom a little bit frustrated. Kiddos, come on, I've been calling you for 10 minutes. Who were still not fully paying attention to her. They were completely wrapped up in Super Mario World and could be there all day if she let them. Yep, right, okay, Mom, sputtered Levi as he kept playing his video game along with his sister Ivy. Yeah, Mom, we'll be there in 10 minutes, just like you said, added Ivy with her eyes glued to the screen and her fingers moving at lightning speed on her game controller. We're so close to finishing this level, whispered Levi. Just a few more minutes. But we don't have a few more minutes, began their mom. You're having a play date at Noah's so I can run some work errands and we have to leave right now. Levi and Ivy tried all they could to hold off leaving as they continue to travel through their favorite game and get closer and closer to saving the kingdom. Okay, I'm not saying this again. We have to go right now, please, said their mom. But when she once again didn't get a response, she decided to join their game. In her own special way, she grabbed 2 pillows from the couch and crept over toward the television. Levi and Ivy were, of course, not paying attention to her, which let her get into position. Since you're not listening to me, maybe you'll listen to one of these turtle shells, she said with a giggle, tossing a pillow each at Levi and Ivy. As she did, she knocked the game controllers out of their hands, finally getting their attention. Watch out for flying Koopa shells, she exclaimed as she grabbed more pillows. This fun way of distracting her kids was just what they needed to finish up their game and head off to Noah's house. Levi and Ivy laughed along with their mom as they turned off their gaming system and headed for the door. Mom, how did you know about Koopa shells? Asked Levi as they hopped in the car. I was a kid too once, she said with a laugh. And Mario's been around for a long time. I used to play when I was your age and I was really good. I know those shells knock you down a power level. And since I was trying to get you to leave, I figured that would be a fun way to power you two down for a bit. Wow, Mom. Very cool. Whoa, Mom. So cool, replied Ivy. But in the new Mario games, if you get hit by a blue shell, you actually get some pretty cool abilities, like dodging enemy attacks and swimming super fast. Well, then it's a good thing I didn't toss those shells at you two, or you'd still be at home playing your game, laughed their mom as she pulled up to Noah's house. Have a great time, kids. I'll be back in just a few hours, and promise me you won't play Super Mario World all day. We won't, Mom, said Levi and Ivy together as they ran off toward Noah's front door. However, what their mom may have not known was that their friend Noah was an even bigger fan of Super Mario than they were. As they ran up to his house, the sky began to get dark. A thunderstorm was supposed to roll in any time, so they hurried inside. As soon as they walked in, Noah's mom told him that he was in his room waiting for them. Thank you, they both shouted as they ran upstairs where they found Noah completely focused on, you guessed it, Super Mario World. It took him a little while to notice his friends were even there. Levi and Ivy waited patiently and watched him play. They didn't want to break Noah's concentration because he was at a very tense part in the game, the final battle with Bowser. As Levi and Ivy watched, holding their breath, it looked like maybe Noah was going to win. But just then, his mom called up asking if they wanted any snacks, and that was just enough to take his focus off the game and let Bowser once again conquer the kingdom. Oh no, called out Noah. I was so close. Do you want any snacks? Called out his mom. No, Mom, we're all set, Noah answered, sounding defeated. I guess I'll have to start all over again. Levi and Ivy tried to make Noah feel better by telling him that they would help with his new journey to save the kingdom. It worked, and they all settled in to play a new game. As they did, the rain began to fall outside. What a perfect day to play video games, said Levi. Totally, replied Ivy. But what Noah said next would change their day in an unforgettable way. It is a great day to play video games, but what if we were the video game? Asked Noah with a wild look in his eyes. I mean, what if we could be inside the video game and we didn't have to rely on little characters on the screen to move when we press the buttons on our game controllers? What if it was Super Noah's World? Levi and Ivy were super excited by this thought. as they all talked about what characters they would be and how it would feel to fly, swim, and race through Super Noah's world, all for the good of the kingdom. As they talked, they began to play their next game. That is, until it wasn't loading correctly. Noah thought he knew how to fix it and unplugged one of the cords, and as he was plugging the cord back in, he, Levi, and Ivy were all holding their game controllers. Oh, friends, what's gonna happen? Just then, a crash of lightning lit up the sky outside his window. The light was so bright that all the kids closed their eyes as they felt a swirl of warm air rush through Noah's room. They all held tight until the swirl passed, and when they opened their eyes, they could not believe what they saw. A castle nestled on a giant hill in the distance. Cartoony, pixelated clouds tumbled through the light blue sky. Flowers waved in the breeze, brick boxes floated in the sky above their heads, and green pipes stuck out of the ground all around them. "No way," said Noah quietly at first, and then louder. "No way! No way!" He ran from thing to thing, touching them to make sure they were real. "I can't believe this!" Noah exclaimed. "We're inside Super Mario World!" "Actually," corrected Ivy, "it's better than that. Look!" And as she spoke, she pointed to a sign just behind Noah and Levi. They both turned around and read the sign out loud. "Welcome to Super Noah's World." "This is amazing!" Both boys shouted as they started to jump all around with Ivy. But their celebration was short-lived as they quickly heard the patter of little feet on the ground and were greeted with a little toadstool who looked in quite a hurry to tell them something. "It's Toad!" called out Ivy. "I wonder if he needs our help." "Actually, my name is Todd," answered the little toadstool. "But yes, I need your help to rescue Princess Papaya from Dozer, a really mean dragon who wants to take over our kingdom." Noah could have not been more excited to help, and Levi and Ivy were ready to be right there by her side. "We're ready to help," answered Noah. "Just tell us what we have to do." Todd explained everything, including the route that they had to take, the obstacles they'd face, and what they needed to do to beat Dozer to save the princess. After explaining himself and thanking Noah, Levi, and Ivy, Todd ran up a step of brick stairs and disappeared down a giant green pipe. "Are we ready to get started?" asked Noah excitedly. "We sure are," said Levi and Ivy. But in their excitement, they hadn't yet noticed what they were wearing. Bright and colorful overalls and giant oversized matching hats. "We look awesome," said Noah, Levi, and Ivy before they set off on their quest. The first part of their journey had them dodging crab shells that were being tossed at them, and they knew just what to do. "These are just like the Koopa shells in Super Mario," Noah called out. "Everything is just a little bit different, but it's still like Super Mario. We have to use all our knowledge that we've gained playing that game to make it through Super Noah's World." Levi and Ivy followed Noah's lead and made it past the flying shells. Next, they hopped and jumped over giant plants that were trying to grab them, while avoiding falling between the brick platforms they were running on. As they were racing along, they were all becoming tired and needed a boost. That's when they all remembered the many different power-ups in Mario World. "There had to be something like that here," said Levi, looking around, and sure enough, there was. When they looked up, they saw boxes with exclamation points on them floating in the sky. They knew right away what they had to do. One by one, they hit each box they saw with their heads and waited to see what kind of power-up prize was inside. Lucky for all of them, they each found a mega version of Todd the Toadstool, which turned them into mega-sized versions of themselves. And it happened right when they needed it most. They looked ahead and saw a team of angry crabs marching toward them. "We need to stomp on these crabs and toss their shells at the big brick wall that protects the castle up there," instructed Noah. "The shells will break apart the bricks, and then we can get in to save the princess." Since Dozer had his guards blocking the front gate to the castle, this was the only way in. So one by one, Meg and Noah, Levi, and Ivy tossed crab shells at the brick wall until they created a big hole. With their mega powers wearing off, they ran inside the castle courtyard and saw Princess Papaya calling to them from a tall tower window. "Please help me," she called. "The only way to freeze me from Dozer is to defeat him in a battle and run him out of the kingdom." "Don't worry," Noah called up to the princess. "My friends and I will save you." But no sooner did he say that than Levi shouted from behind him. Dozer had seen them enter the courtyard and ordered his guards, the fierce Hoopa Troopas, to surround the brave trio. Todd had already been captured and was sitting inside a giant birdcage in the corner of the courtyard. "You can do it, Noah!" shouted Todd. "The fate of the kingdom is in your hands!" But no pressure! Levi and Ivy were thrown off a bit by the guards, and they were quickly captured as well, joining Todd in the birdcage. All they could do now was watch as Noah was left to defeat Dozer. And once they finally saw him, they were all worried that wouldn't happen. A giant dragon creature stormed into the castle courtyard looking less than excited to see everyone. "So do you think you can defeat the likes of me?" boomed Dozer as he walked toward Noah. "I'd like to see you try! Ha ha ha!" In that second, Noah knew that all the video game playing he'd done led him to this one moment. He was as ready as he could ever be and gave Levi, Ivy, and Todd a thumbs up before he searched around for a power-up block within the castle walls. When he finally saw a small floating exclamation mark box, he ran to it as quickly as he could. Once he bopped the box with his head, he could not have been happier to see the extremely rare Super Jump, Super Smash, Super Dash Combo Power-Up Star pop out! Once Noah grabbed the star, he was clearly invincible. But Dozer was so much bigger than him that he needed to think quickly on his feet and always be one step ahead. Dozer and Noah worked their way through the courtyard, jumping, running, smashing things as Princess Papaya watched from her tower, and Levi, Ivy, and Todd watched from their giant bird cage. They were cheering so loud for Noah that it was distracting Dozer, who was making little missteps as the battle went on. "I've got you right where I want you," exclaimed Noah as he backed Dozer toward a giant green pipe in the middle of the castle courtyard. As he smashed the ground around Dozer with his super strength, Dozer had nowhere to go. Once he was backed up against the pipe, Noah used his super dash power to run circles around the giant dragon. Dozer became more and more dizzy as he watched the tiny titan sprint around and around. The dizzy feeling was too much for Dozer, and he toppled over, falling right down the giant pipe. "I did it!" shouted Noah. "I defeated Dozer!" And as he did this, Dozer's guard vanished one by one. The giant birdcage disappeared around Levi, Ivy, and Toad, and Princess Papaya floated gently down to the ground from her tower. "Thank you so much, Super Noah," said the princess, giving Noah a big hug. "You're very welcome, Princess, but I couldn't have done it without the support and help of my team, Super Levi and Super Ivy," said Noah, giving his friends a big smile. "That was amazing," called out Levi and Ivy as they high-fived their friend, and as they did, they could hear a noise coming from inside the pipe. It was a very upset and defeated Dozer. "Good matchup," he roared from the bottom of the pipe. "You have great skills, but you haven't seen the last of me." Dozer vanished from the pipe in a puff of smoke, and the kingdom was safe for another day. "It seems Dozer may be back," said Noah, "but fear not, Princess Papaya. I will always be just a call away if you need me." "Thank you again, Super Noah and friends," said the princess and Todd. "Have a safe trip home." And as they said their goodbyes, the same breeze from before swirled through the castle courtyard and delivered Noah, Levi, and Ivy safely back into Noah's room. A few hours had passed when they were gone, and Levi and Ivy's mom was already back to pick them up. The thunderstorm was over, and the sun shone brightly through a light mist that had settled in the air. "So, did you three play video games all afternoon?" asked Levi and Ivy's mom with a smile. The three friends just looked at each other and started to laugh. "No," answered Noah. "We can honestly say we didn't play video games this afternoon. That's because we were the video game," whispered Levi and Ivy to Noah as the three super friends high-fived and ran outside to play. Want to start a podcast? Spotify has an easy free platform called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Record and edit your podcast on your phone or computer with ease. Share your podcast on Spotify and all other major platforms. You can even make video podcasts on Spotify. If you want to engage with your audience more, use Q&A and polls. You can earn money through ads and podcast subscriptions. It's completely free, no hidden cost. Give it a try. Visit www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. We love making our podcast, and working with Spotify has been amazing. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.